the great lock-in 2025. And I was like, what are they talking about? Lock-in, what is that? Well, basically, if you haven't heard already, and like I said, up until really day before yesterday, I had not heard anything about it. But the great lock-in is you actually being focused and intentionally setting short-term, small, incremental goals that you can implement. So when I saw it, of course, it piqued my interest because I was already planning on doing what I call the reset, buckle down. So it was saying lock in challenge. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to really do no challenge. But really calls for me, I think of it more like a journey. Because for me, what I was thinking of doing was the reset, going back into the end of this year. And for me, actually, to put in incremental steps and changes that I could implement, small things that I could carry into 2026. So for me, it's not just about a 90 or a 120-day challenge. You may be saying to yourself, hey, I'm not going to do this thing. This is something that the young people are doing, and I don't think it's something for me. But I'm going to tell you, this is something for all of us. When you say you want to do a lock-in or a buckle down or a being more focused, that really is you being more intentional. More intentional about where you want to be, more intentional about what you expect for the outcome to be. The word tells us to write the vision, make it plain so that when men read it, they can run. In this case, you're writing the vision for yourself. And then I came across Ephesians 5:15 through 16. It said, be very careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Hello. This is Lifestyle for Living. I just want to come and do a check-in. I know it's been a minute since I last posted. The last thing I posted was me doing the 90-day carnivore challenge, and I actually got through it. I actually did good. I was very pleased with the outcome, but I will tell you, I recently went on vacation and a trip for work, and I was gone for about 3 weeks. And let me say this, when I get around my family, and I know if you know like me, when you get around your family, you kind of let your hair down, you're enjoying yourself. And so while I made good strides on my challenge for the carnivore diet, it was really one of those situations where I just wanted to see if I could do it. So while I was on the trip and as I was preparing to come back to home, I was thinking to myself, girl, you got to really lock in. And it wasn't even lock in. I said, you got to really buckle down going into the end of this year. You really want to end this year better than you did going through the year. You want to kind of tighten things up a little bit. And I don't know about you, but I just did not want to be the person that was doing the New Year's resolution and I'm just going to wait and all of that. I kind of felt like and already knew that I needed to kind of rein some things in before I went into 2026. So coincidentally, while I knew for me, with me flying back in town on the 2nd, I really wasn't going to be able to get back into my groove till like the 3rd or the 4th. And so I was like telling myself, okay, when you get back, kind of settle back in, see what you need to do. And I actually have been using Chat GPT to prompt different things about myself, i.e. I'll put in my age, I put in whatever health considerations and concerns I have, and I'm asking Chat GPT, what's the best type lifestyle, i.e. diet for me to continue to lose weight? Because if you've been following me, I've been on a weight loss journey. I was on GLP-1 medication. I came off GLP-1 medication. I got back on GLP medication, and at the end of May this year, I came off again. And to tell you the truth, it really was more of economics for me, where I was like, I just cannot continue to spend this kind of money, and I'm not seeing the bang for the buck. And I know people talk about plateaus and all of that, but we can talk about that a little more later. But for me, economically, my insurance was changing, and I just decided to come off the GLP-1 medications. So with that being said, I coincidentally, as I was getting ready to start my what I call reset, buckle down, lock it in, I came across on social media this trend that's going on right now that's talking about the great lock-in 2025. And I was like, what are they talking about? Lock-in, what is that? Well, basically, if you haven't heard already, and like I said, up until really day before yesterday, I had not heard anything about it. But the great lock-in is you actually being focused and intentionally setting short-term, small, incremental goals that you can implement. So when I saw it, of course, it piqued my interest because I was already planning on doing what I call the reset, buckle down. So it was saying lock in challenge. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to really do no challenge. But really calls for me, I think of it more like a journey. Because for me, what I was thinking of doing was the reset, going back into the end of this year. And for me actually to put in incremental steps and changes that I could implement, small things that I could carry into 2026. So for me, it's not just about a 90 or a 120-day challenge. So as I started looking into it, I got into the research of it. If you've been following me, you know how I get into deep diving into stuff. And I thought about me personally, where I was and what I wanted to be the outcome of what I was planning on doing for the reset. So this kind of just made me open my mind up to think about more and to be more intentional about what I was doing. And even when I was thinking about this, I also started thinking about my lifestyle. And I realized, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't do anything without God, without the Holy Spirit helping me. I need assistance. If it was so easy, I would be doing it on my own. But I realized I got to incorporate more things. So I thought about this and said, how can I do this lock in and make it accommodate my lifestyle and where I am? So even if you're a person out there and you're not necessarily over 50, you may be like me, which I'm getting ready to have a birthday coming up soon. I'm now over 60. You may be saying to yourself, hey, I'm not going to do this thing. This is something that the young people are doing, and I don't think it's something for me. But I'm going to tell you, this is something for all of us, because this is not something that you just can do at the end of a year. This is something you probably need to do and reassess continually throughout the year. So it kind of worked out for me. So when I thought about it and I said, okay, Lord, I want to do something that's going to help me go forward. So what I'm doing today is sharing with you how I'm approaching this, right? For some people, they already started this. They did their week one. For me, really, I looked at this week as like a precursor, and my week one is going to be next week. So I want to tell you, if you're out there and you're thinking about doing it and you're saying, oh, well, I didn't start on September 1st, you don't have to start on September 1st. This is your personal journey. This is you with your own internal perspective for what you need to do for you. So I don't want you to be caught so much into the dates. I want you to think about, what do I need to do to lock in? What do I need to do to focus? What do I need to do to narrow down in my life for where I want to be? And another thing that came across to me was this. When I was really considering that I was going to do something to buckle down, I really wasn't thinking about making it structured. I just was making it up in my head and saying, okay, you're going to cut your carbs again. You're going to try to exercise more, because I already exercise, but I kind of fallen off of that for a little bit. And it's like, you're going to be more conscientious. But when I started researching this, and I'm going to talk to you, and I took some notes because I really went into this. When you say you want to do a lock-in or a buckle down or a being more focused, that really is you being more intentional. More intentional about where you want to be, more intentional about what you expect for the outcome to be. The word tells us to write the vision, make it plain, so that when men read it, they can run. In this case, you're writing a vision for yourself. You're writing a vision for where you want to be, where you want to go. But what I like about this, and what I'm doing for me, I'm doing it incrementally, right? So even though I'm saying I want to close the year out strong, I'm not putting myself under a lot of pressure. I think I saw one young lady say, hey, she's doing a lockout. She's not doing a lock-in because she felt like she didn't want to put the pressure on herself. But I'm going to tell you too, lock-in is not necessarily you putting pressure on yourself. Lock-in is you assessing all the different facets of your life and where you are and where you want to be and what you want to do. And in that situation, in some situations, it may be you releasing things. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you taking everything in or you kind of putting everything in on you. You could actually decide that there's some things that you need to purge out of your life. And I'm going to talk about that because one of my areas of focus is decluttering my life. So then when I thought about it more and I started really focusing on this, and I thought about where I'm at in my life, being over 50, I had to say to myself, even for the close of this year, what really matters to me? Really, what really matters to me? What's really important to me right now at this phase in my life? I feel as though I'm in a career that I love what I do. I consider that I make decent money. I mean, I don't make all the money that I want to make, but I make pretty good money. And then at the other aspect of it, I'm comfortable where I am. So I'm like, what really, really, really matters to me? And so then I thought about it. Okay, my health really matters to me because I want to be able to live my best life even now. And I'm not going to lie to you. There are sometimes in this phase of life when you're putting this pressure on yourself and you're saying, hey, I want to lose weight. Hey, I want to be healthy. But there's a longer, intense goal for that, meaning you're doing the things that you're doing, the short windows of things that you're doing in order that you have a greater future, in order that you can do more things. So if you're over 50 like me and you're thinking, oh, I don't need to do all that, it's just too much, it's not. Because I will tell you, I was with my father for a couple of days while I was actually home with my family, and he's 20 years older than me. And I thought about the fact that because he was very active when he was younger, but as life and things started happening and different health issues, he's kind of gotten to the point where his mobility is gone. He didn't keep up with certain things. And so that's where I'm at right now. So when you think about the great lock-in challenge, and I don't want to call it a challenge, I want to say the great lock-in journey. When you think about that, you want to put it in perspective of being intentional and really sitting down and thinking about what really matters to you. And that made me have to really think about being more structured in a way. And I actually started saying, okay, you say you want to do certain things, but you really need to clarify your goals, clarify what you want to do, and clarify where you want to go. And then another thing I found in this, it was talking about that we are gifts for other people. But in order for you to be a gift to somebody else, you got to sow into yourself. And if you're not sowing into yourself, you can't be a gift to someone else, because you got to really think about when you have something of value, you treat it well. And you do the things you need to do to make sure it stays in pristine condition. I mean, if it's a valued gift and you should consider yourself to be a valued gift, then you need to actually think about, what do I need to do, or what do I need to place myself, or what things do I need to put in my life right now, even in this lock-in challenge or reset goals or whatever you want to call it. What do I really need to do to get myself to another level? And that's really where I'm at right now. So then I started praying about it and asking God for help. And then I came across Ephesians 5:15 through 16. It said, be very careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. And that's what I really thought about in this situation. Was this is an opportunity for me to assess where I'm at and to be intentional and to set a structure of where I want to be and where I want to go. So I'm going to be doing a series talking about focus areas, where you want to be, what you want to do, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing and my approach to doing it. Because when you say you want to lock in, it really is you putting a spotlight of attention on your ability to control what you can control. And then you're also putting in those small steps for the future you. And it's small things. It's not you trying to say, I'm going all in, going this way. It's really you taking small incremental steps. A lot of people read the book Atomic Habits, and it talks about the inkling of using small gestures, small things. And you know what? Really, you can do small things that can go towards the negative, or small things that go towards the positive. So even in this aspect, it's not about you putting pressure on yourself. It's about you looking at where you are and focusing of what you want your 2026 to be and what you want that to be beyond.